Okay, we turn to page 3 of the prayer book as a preliminary practice for the 11Mar2020 course. A continuation from the Wheel of Life. Okay, first, the preliminary prayers, setting a proper motivation, which consists of 3 parts: refuge field, bodhicitta, and the purpose of this practice. At the refuge field, visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in front of you. And how you visualize them. They are like a very affectionate parents, and imagine that you come home demoralized, and they are there, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas like your parents being there. When you come home demoralized after being bullied by the elder children at the school, and your parents are waiting there to give full love, affection, attention, and embrace. And how serious you are with this visualization, what to visualize and how to visualize, that determines the power, the intensity of your refuge. Bodhicitta field, visualize the 2 parents on the 2 sides, and all your family members, including your children, and all the other sentient beings living on the side, the human beings, the animals, the insects, God and goddesses, the hell beings, hungry ghost beings, and all sentient beings living on the side from this world, from the Milky Way galaxy, and from across the universe. And how you visualize them. Here you are the mother, and all others are like your children. And imagine that they come home demoralized, and you are there to give full love, affection, attention, and embrace. And the purpose of this practice, purpose of this class, is to realize the final meaning of your 2 aspirations. Aspiration to be freed of all miseries, and aspiration to have the maximum happiness. And for that matter, we need to know that we have these 2 potentials within us. The potential of the total fearlessness, no fear of any miseries, and the aspiration of the full awakening, the Buddhahood, the infinite happiness. And these seeds are there within us, also referred to as the Buddha nature, the seed of perfection. And no matter who you are, whether you're Buddhist, non-Buddhist, whether you're spiritual, non-spiritual, whether you're boy, girl, it doesn't matter. Everyone has this quality, the seed of perfection within yourself. To activate this, we need to separate the mental defilements from this purity, from the seed of perfection within us. And for that matter, we need to identify what these mental defilements are. And the mental defilements are of 2 kinds, the gross and the subtle. The gross one referred to as the afflictive obscurations, and the subtle one referred to as the cognitive obscurations. The gross one, like the salt of garlic, consists of 3 kinds: contaminant karmas, afflictions, and the active seeds of the 2. And to eradicate this, the afflictive obscurations, we need to resort to the final remedy, which is the wisdom of emptiness, and driven by the force of renunciation. And then to remove the cognitive obscurations, we need to again depend on the resort to the same wisdom of emptiness, but the driving force must be much more powerful remedy, which is the motivation, which is bodhicitta, supported by great compassion and grounded on renunciation. In other words, the way Lama Tsongkhapa presented in his short text composition, the 3 principal parts: renunciation, bodhicitta, and the wisdom of emptiness. So it is through these 3, supported by the single pointed meditation, shamatha meditation, that the mental defilements can be gotten rid of. So the whole purpose of our studies here is to look for to meditate on these remedies and to meditate, to know how to be able to meditate on them well. We need the conviction, and this conviction is possible only through the reflection. So the wisdom drive through reflection, and then to have the wisdom drive through reflection, we need to resort on the wisdom drive through learning. So what we're doing here is learning to gather the materials for us to reflect deeply, so that we will gain conviction in the efficacy of the power of these four teachings, the practices, and on that basis we practice diligently on these 4 points. So with this in mind, imagine that you are leading this the practice, and all the sentient beings, they are joining you, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they are watching us. Page 3 of the Blaze of Non-Dual Bodhicittas. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas, and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all leads hearers seeking pacification and complete peace, who through the knowledge of past causes souls helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of omniscience helps subdue us, expand a variety of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. The teacher, Sugata and protector, to you I make prostration. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays, to you the Buddha I make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I join the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaya swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaya swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham tathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaya swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of causes as well is taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear light, non-composite. Such the natural dharma I have discovered. Finding no one who can fathom this teaching, in silence I will return to the words. Beyond utterance, thought, and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. Is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the three times of the obeisance. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are of the nature of suffering. All phenomena of the nature of emptiness and selflessness, transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of everything wholesome. A go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings from miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered miseries gloom. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Okay, we'll recite the Heart Sutta mantra. Deyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha Dhyatha 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 Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha. Okay, we will read three principal aspects of the path, or the three principal parts. Okay, it is on page, the new book, page 77, the new edition, page 77. And those of you who have the book with you, please open it. The new edition, page 77. The text says, three principal aspects of the path. This is by Lama Tsongkhapa. In other words, in our life, what we practice to bring about transformation in one's own mind, to make us happier, to make us be free from the anxiety, anguish, and so forth. And of course, for the ultimate aspiration, which is to achieve nirvana and Buddhahood. Finally, what we practice is the three principal aspects of the path: renunciation, bodhicitta, and wisdom of emptiness. And within the wisdom of emptiness here, Lama Tsongkhapa incorporated the shamatha. So total there are four. Put them together into the three. And then the wisdom of emptiness, again there, you can also, it also includes the what is known as the tantric path. So the tantric path, the non-duality of the wisdom, the bliss and emptiness. non-duality of the bliss of the emptiness. So total we have 3. Okay, we're going to recite this. This is extremely precious. And after studying Nalanda Diploma course and Nalanda Master's course, then finally we have to practice these 3 things through extensive learning, wisdom derived through learning, then wisdom derived through reflection, and the wisdom derived through meditation. Okay. Those of you who have the book with you, just read this with me, or otherwise, as I read, just listen and see that the meanings are reflected in your mind. And I remember during one of His Holiness's public address, His Holiness said that this is a very important text and that His Holiness recites this every day. So that would be wonderful if you can recite it on a daily basis. And if possible, not only reciting this, but also try to make it a concrete practice of the renunciation on the basis of the 4 seals, and then the bodhicitta on the basis of the 2 methods, the 7-fold causative method, and the method of equalizing and exchanging self for others, and the wisdom of emptiness, and the true systematic learning of that. That would be wonderful, and include a part of single-pointed meditation. Okay. I bow down to the Venerable Lamas. As well as I am able, I will explain the essence of all the teachings of the Buddha, a path praised by the conqueror's children, the entrance for those who desire liberation. Listen with a clear mind, you fortunate ones who are not attached to the joys of single existence. Strive to make good use of leisure and opportunity, and direct your minds to the path that pleases the Buddhas. Without pure renunciation, an end to attraction for the pleasure of cyclic existence is unattainable. The craving for existence also binds beings, thus from the outset seek renunciation. Reverse the attraction to this life by reflecting on how leisure and opportunity are difficult to find and how life is ephemeral and without span. Reverse the attraction to future lives by repeatedly thinking of the infallibility of karma and its effects and the miseries of samsara. Contemplating thus, when for an instant you do not admire the splendors of cyclic existence, you remain intent on liberation day and night, renunciation is born in you then. However, renunciation, if not tempered by the pure mind of bodhicitta, will not bring forth the perfect bliss of unsurpassed enlightenment. Therefore, the wise ones generate the excellent mind of bodhicitta, swept up in the current of the 4 powerful rivers, tied by strong bonds of karma, so hard to undo, caught in the iron net of self-grasping, completely enveloped by the darkness of ignorance, born and reborn in limitless cyclic existence, ceaselessly tormented by the 3 miseries. Thinking of your mothers in this condition, generate the supreme mind of bodhicitta. Although you train in renunciation and the mind of bodhicitta, without wisdom that realizes ultimate reality, you cannot cut the root of cyclic existence. Therefore, strive to understand dependent arising. One who sees the infallible cause and effect of all phenomena in samsara and nirvana, and destroys all focuses of apprehension, has entered the path of which pleases the Buddhas. Appearances are infallible dependent arising. Emptiness is the understanding that is free of assertions. As long as these 2 are seen as distinct, you have not yet realized the intent of the Buddhas. When these 2 realizations are concurrent, where the mere sight of infallible dependent origination concurrently destroys all modes of grasping through definite discernment, at that time the analysis of the profound view is perfected. Furthermore, appearances refuse the extreme of existence, emptiness refuses the extreme of non-existence. When they understand that emptiness arises in the form of cause and effect, you are not captivated by the view of extremes. O my child, once you have thus realized the points of the 3 principal paths, seek solitude and cultivate strong determination and quickly reach the final aspired goal. Okay. Continuation from the Wheel of Life, where we left last time. Wheel of Life, page 318, the new edition of the book, The Place of Non-Dual Bodhicittas. The Wheel of Life, 12 links of dependent origination, this one. The Place of Non-Dual Bodhicittas. So last time we were talking about the Wheel of Life, how the 12 links of dependent origination, as depicted in the outermost circle, 12 links, the order that we see there is slightly different from the causal sequence of the 12 links of dependent origination. From this, we learned that there's a reason why the 12 links are put in this particular order, in this particular painting, how the order is altered, which is slightly different from how that is actually sequential, the causally coming into order or the sequence. So why the difference is there? So the causal sequence is, okay, let me make it very quick, like a revision. And of course, I expect you to have listen to this and study this more seriously from the last teaching. So number 1, 2, 3. Then we go to number 8, 9, 10, 11. Then number 4, 5, 6, 7. Then go to 12. This is the order in line with the cause-effect relationship. So this is how the as per the cause-effect relationship of 12 links, 1, 2, 3, then 8, 9, 10, 11, then 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 12. Then why this order is different here in the painting? And this is something which was done at the instruction of the compassionate Buddha Shakyamuni. So how come the omniscient one taught in a very different order? So that is to tell us that how that we being in samsara, it is the unending samsara. Unending samsara, until we put effort. And how? So here in this one wheel, we see that actually it is not just one wheel. It's of two wheels. It's of two wheels. And it's also of, let's say, the three wheels. 2 wheels or 3 wheels. Let's say if it is, let's say the 2 wheels, which means that before you complete the first wheel, then the second wheel already started. And before the completion of the second wheel, the third wheel already started, which means that it is just unending. Whereas if the first wheel completes and then second wheel is yet to come, then in between there's a gap. So this is the time when the samsara comes to an end. Whereas this is not the case. First wheel is there, then before the completion of the first wheel, the second wheel already started. In fact, it's not just second wheel, it's millions of wheels have started. And then before of the millions of wheels started, before the millions of wheels started, of them, one wheel will take over to give rise to the second life. So there, then the innumerable wheels operating. So one wheel will take over, means that the other wheel is still there in the operation, and then the next wheel operating. Before that, again, another millions of wheels are started, which means that if you look at it, it's overwhelmingly very scary. That I'll never come to an end to my samsara, the misery, sickness, aging, death, tension. And then just a very small example, last time we gave the example of the coronavirus. Just look at the wave of the fear just traveling across this world. So much of fear spreading everywhere. And then the one time, somebody text messaged me saying that, Kishila, why you are talking about the fearlessness? I said, look, this is because on Churu Dujen, which is the day the compassionate Buddha Shakyamuni performed miracles to defeat the evil forces. So that corresponds to the 15th day of the first month of lunar calendar, just 2 days ago. And so I sent this message to everybody. Let us all pray that the fear that everybody experience, the fearlessness, and the fearlessness due to the wisdom of emptiness, and the infinite happiness due to the the bodhicitta. So the most beautiful part of bodhicitta. I sent this message and somebody said, Krishna, why are you saying the fearlessness? Why the fear? And I said that that's the reality of the world is filled with fear. It's full of fears. And I sent some pictures of how people are putting on like 10, 20 masks together to stop the coronavirus contracting the coronavirus droplets from the people sneezing or whatever. And then some people, because they can't get the mask, so what they did is that they're using the mineral water bottle. They cut it into half and put it like this. So all these things are simply the indication of the fears that people live in fears. Okay, and so keeping this aside, so now the point is that this wheel is just unending. How that's unending, that is explained by altering the sequence. That 1, 2, 3. Then the actual order is 8, 9, 10, 11. So in the first half, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3 is what? The projecting, the projecting or the projector. The projector limbs, and then the 4, 5, 6, 7, they are the projected limbs. So there, in these two, the certain cause effect, projected limbs and the projected limbs and the projected limbs, in these two, what we see missing is that the 1, 2, 3, then 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10. 8, 9, 10 are the producer limbs, immediate producer limbs. These are missing. Actually, they are not missing, they are implicitly presented. So there, 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, 11, implicit. No, 8, 9, 10, implicit. Then then 11, then the number, say 11, 11 is also implicit. Then 4, 5, 6, 7, explicit, which is projected. Then number 12, which is implicit. So we see that there is within this what we see there on the painting here, 1 through to 7. Within that 1 through to 7, that is explicitly presented, projector and projected. And whereas in between 1 to 3 projector, then the 8, 9, 10, 11, 8, 9, 10 projected, then the producer, and then the number 11, the produced, and then number 4, 5, 6, 7 projected, then number 12 produced. So we see that producer, produce, these two are implicit in the first part. If you add implicits to the explicits in the first part meaning of the 12 links, link 1 through to 7. So there, what happens is that there's a whole one wheel there. Then number 8 through to 12. 8, 9, 10, that is producer. For the producer, we need to have the projector and projected. Projector. So projector, that is 1 to 3. 1 to 3 is required. Then that is implicit for the second half. Implicit. Then 8, 9, 10. 8, 9, 10, that is the 8, 9, 10 is producer. Then number 11 is the produced. Then number 4, 5, 6, 7, these are the projected. That is implicit. And then number 12, that is the produced. Number 11 and number 12, these two produce. So number 12, that is explicit. So again, in the second half also, which is second half meaning explicit, what you find here, 7, say the number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that is in second half. In the second half, we have the producer and the produce as explicit, and the projector and projected as implicit. So we see that there are the two wheels there. Say two wheels, each of them having explicit part and the implicit parts. From this, the indication is that these two wheels, before the one wheel completes, the second wheel already started. So from this, you have to extend to the second to the third. Before you complete the second wheel, then the third wheel starts. So this is an indication that this is the wheel of life. This is samsara, where our agonies, anxiety, anguish never stops. Okay, so now the question arises, that the end of the question, which is a very important question, is, say, one set of the 12 links. One set of the 12 links, for example, the example that we, if I give one example, let's say the last life, we have accumulated enormous amount of the positive karmas, likewise enormous amount of the negative karmas. And all these millions of karmas accumulated the last life, immediately before we died, only one karma took the precedence, which means that overtook all of the karmas, and that was the deciding factor to what we are going to become today, this life. So of these millions and trillions of karma, only that karma they started to operate. Now what about other karmas? For the other karmas, 1, 2, 3, ignorance, contaminant karmas, and the consciousness. So these three already started. And then for them, these three are started. What about the remaining links? For 3 are started, then there are 12 links. Of the 12, only 3 finished, and the remaining 9, when will they come into being? Okay, for that matter, the question to articulate this question, it is that how many lifetimes are required for the completion of one set of 12 links of dependent origination? How many lifetimes required? This is a serious question it is to be understood or to be answered in this, to know this wheel of life meaning well. So for that matter, it says that, say, the maximum it will take 3 lifetimes and minimum it will take 2 lifetimes to complete one set of 12 links of dependent origination. This is what we need to know. So how, let's say, maximum 3 lifetimes. Let's say that the last life, immediately the preceding life, we accumulate, let's say, the very strong positive karma to take birth in the, let's say, in the Deva and Devi, Deva realm, or the realm of the god and goddess karma. But at the time of death, the karma to project us into as a human being ripened. So therefore the karma to give rise to take birth in the Deva and Devi realm or the god and goddess realm. So that karma was already accumulated, which means to accumulate the karma, the 3 things must be happening in sequence within the same lifetime. That is ignorance, then the contaminant karma number 2, and number 3 is the consciousness. These 3 things should be within the same lifetime. Okay, 3 things are gone. And then before we die, that karma, instead of that karma ripening, another karma to give birth to human life, that was ripened. So which means that these 3 things will remain, particularly number 2, which is that the contaminant karmas will be there on the consciousness number 3 as it is. And then in this life, now at the moment we are operating on the basis of the karma which projected us as a human being. So that karma to project us in the Deva and Devi realm or the god and goddess realm, that is still there in the form of a seed within us now. So last life was one life, and this life said before we die, all the again innumerable karmas accumulated. Let's say that karma, which was otherwise to project us to god and goddess realm, so that karma before we die, that karma proved to be the strongest. In which case, that karma is going to be ripen. To ripen that projecting karma, it must be nurtured by the link number 8 and 9. 8 and 9. So now before we die, so that karma to give us birth into the God and Goddess realm, so that karma 1 to 3 was in the past life. Now in this life, if that is going to take precedence to project us in the next life as a God and Goddess in the next life, then before we die, this life, before we die, what happens is number 8 and number 9, craving and the grasping will manifest, number 9 manifests, and number 2, which we accumulated last life, that's going to be germinated, and it will make that karma into number 10, known as the becoming, the matured version of the karma, that is the number 10, becoming. So number 2 and number 10, these two fall under the category of the karma. So number 10, so which means that to complete that karma, last life was involved, and this life is also involved, number 2. So last life, three links were completed, 1, 2, 3, and in this life, number 8, 9, 10, then you die, and then you die from number 10, you'll go to number 11. Number 11 is your next life, the birth in the next life. Number 11, then number 4, 5, 6, 7, number 12, all in next life. So which means that how many lives involved now? Last life, when the karma is accumulated, 3 links, 1, 2, 3. Then this life, when the karma is germinated, number 8, 9, 10. Then next life, the 6 resultant links. That is number 11, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 12. So the point that we need to keep in mind is all 6 limbs, all six resultant limbs, there are 6 causal limbs, which means that the number 1, 2, 3. Number 1, 2, 3 is the projector. Projector is the cause, and producer is also the cause. Producer, we have number 8, 9, 10. 8, 9, 10, producer. So these are the 6 causes. And then the projected number 4, 5, 6, 7. Projected number 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the produced number 11 and 12. So projected 4, produced 2, total 6. So results, there are 6 results, and there's 6 causes. And for your information, the 6 results, they are completed always in one lifetime. 6 results happen always in one lifetime. It requires only one life. They don't need 2, 3 lifetimes. Only one life. And then for the causes, there are 2 sets of causes. Number 1 is projector. Number 2 is producer. The projector and producer can be happening in one life or can happen in 2 lives. If it happens in 2 lives, then the maximum lifespan is 3. For the causal links, 2 lives, projector 1 life, projectors 1 life, and the producers 1 life, and then there is 6 resultant states. Produced, projected, and the produced combined together 6. This will happen in 1 life. So total 3 lives. So maximum it will take 3 lives and a minimum 6 lives. No, 2 lives. Minimum how 2 lives? The 6 causes in 1 lifetime and the 6 results in 1 lifetime. For example, let's say this life we accumulate, so because the study is not a diploma course, then we feel that, oh, I'm so fortunate that I learned about the wheel of life. This wheel of life is a very profound meaning. So far, I just superficially know this. I was so amazed by just a painting or this nice painting. That's it. So now studying this is not just a painting. It's a tremendous meaning there. And I'm so as we admire, as we appreciate the study of 12 links, how the afflictions give rise to contaminant karmas, give rise to suffering in the form of 12 links, knowing all these things, and then feeling a very strong sense of renunciation to samsara, wanting to renounce samsara altogether. In a way, in the process, you accumulate enormous amount of positive karma. So let's say that while studying Narada Development course and appreciating, you feeling joy, rejoicing over you having studied and having met with this teaching on the wheel of life, you accumulate so much of positive karma. And for this, of course, for us, no experience of emptiness. So all karmas, positive or negative, whatever. If it's positive, it becomes the white part in the second wheel. If negative, the black part in the second wheel. So that becomes a positive karma, contaminated positive karma, contaminated by the ignorance, seeing things as object real, seeing things as like so solid, objectified, not like a dream. So with this karma, for that accumulation karma, it must be preceded by ignorance. So number one, ignorance was there. Then number two, accumulation karma is there. Number two, and this imprint as you go out and you go to your home, then your mind becomes neutral. Sometimes your mind will become angry, but there's virtue still there. So that virtuous karma, and it is in the form of the seed in your consciousness. So number 1, 2, 3 is already happened. Now, closer towards your death, say of all the innumerable karmas that we accumulated, if this particular karma that is accumulated because of your profound admiration in the study, reflection, meditation on the wheel of life, being as taught by the Buddha Shakyamuni, if that karma overrides, or if that karma is the most intense karma of all the other karmas, then that karma is going to take over to decide what your next life is going to be like. For that matter, this karma has to be nurtured by number 8, craving, grasping, and this karma will become matured. That is number 10. So before we die, so in the process of living, the karma, the ignorance karma, and the consciousness, 3 things happen. And within the same life, closer towards death, number 8, craving, number 9, grasping, and number 12, becoming. So these 3 things happen, which means that the 3 projected limbs, and the 3 projected limbs. 3 producer limbs. So total 6 causal factors, they happen in this life. And then all the 6 results, projected and the producers. So 4 projected and the 2 produced. So these 6 results, they will always happen in one lifetime. So next life, 6 will happen, which means that next life you will have the birth connection to the next life. Number 11, birth, and then within mother's womb, number 4, name and form, then number 5, sense sources, number 6, contact, then number 7, feeling, and then number 12, aging and death. The 6 results happen always in one lifetime. 6 results always in one lifetime. So that is the 6 causes this life, one life, and the 6 results next life. So it requires 2 lifetimes, which means that if somebody were to ask you for the completion of one set of 12 links of dependent origination, how many lifetimes are required? Answer is that maximum 3 lifetimes, minimum 2 lifetimes. So this is a very standard answer that we need to know. Okay, having said this, to refine your understanding, the question is that then the debates come. It's not that there is the problem with this presentation, but it's simply to refine your understanding, to make your understanding well grounded. So for that matter, the question that always comes about is that the Buddha very clearly indicated that one karma has the ability to give rise to 500 lifetimes of results over the stretch of 500 lifetimes. If that happens, for example, say the karma to take birth in the, let's say, hungry ghost, animal realm, or the hell being, hell realm, if one is to take birth there, so one karma, if it is so intense, then the same karma will be exhausted only after 100 lifetimes of suffering, 500 lifetimes of suffering, and 1000, and so forth. This is very scary. Likewise, virtues. It's not only with negative karma, the positive karma to give rise to, say, to give rise to human birth, or the birth in the God realm, or the Asura's realm. So the three virtuous karma, so they're also same. So some of these karmas can be so strong that they have the potential to give rise to like 500 lifetimes of human birth, 500 lifetimes of the birth as God and Goddess. So these things happen. If that happens, then the question is that, say, that you have, say, accumulated the karma this life because of the study, reflection, meditation on the wheel of life, your appreciation to the profound significance and the meaning of the wheel of life. So with this, you accumulate enormous positive karma that is so powerful to give, to project you, to give birth in the human realm 500 times in the future, 500 lifetimes. If that happens, then let's see. Number one, that is ignorance, contaminant karmas, and the consciousness. These three happens in this life. And then let's say that if that is what takes the precedence, or the most powerful one of all the karmas that you accumulate in this life, or you have, then closer towards the death, you have number 8, 9, 10. Then the next birth, okay, 6 results. And then still next, again, before you die, again number 8, 9, 10 will happen. Again, result. So 500 lifetimes means 500 lives plus this life is life 501 lifetimes. So to complete one cycle of the 12 links of dependent origination, the maximum what we learned is that three births, 3 lives. But from this question, we see that it can be like 500 lives. It's not three lives. So what is the answer? This is the question. So I will not give the answer here, and I want all the participants of the knowledge diploma course to reflect on this. And if possible, try to discuss among yourselves as to how. And this is what happens. This is a very standard the standard teaching given by the Buddha, that the one karma has the capacity to give rise to like 500 lives of the same result. Okay, so this is one thing that we need to keep in mind. Okay. Now the next thing that I like to discuss with you is that all right. Okay, so that is say we speak about, say, there's what is known as the 4 existences, SIPA existences, and of course there are so many ways of classifying existence here doesn't mean the phenomena which exist. This is not the point. It's pertaining to the 12 links of dependent origination. There's the existence of the birth, the existence of the birth, or the life of a birth, life as a birth, existence of the birth. Then number 2 is the existence of the manifestation. Existence of the manifestation. Number 1, existence of birth. This is the kesi. In Tibetan, kesi. Then existence of the manifestation, mundusiba, existence of manifestation. And then the death, existence of chisi, existence of dying, existence of dying. And then finally the intermediate existence, intermediate state, existence state. Or we can also say the state of birth, the state of manifestation, the state of death, the state of dying, and the state of intermediate state. Okay, birth state, manifestation state, a state of dying, and the intermediate state or existence. State, existence, up to you. Okay, let's say state. Let's say state. 4 states pertain to the 12 links of dependent origination. Say number 11, the birth. That is the state of existence. The state of birth, or the existence of birth, number 11. Then say in the sequence of the causal sequence, according to the causal sequence of the 12 links of dependent origination, number 11. Then we go to number 4. 4, 5, 6, 7. 4, 5, 6, 7. Then 12. Within 12, there are 2 categories. One is aging and the other one is death. Dying, the last moment. The last moment of the being, that is the moment of the dying. So till that point, from the birth, second moment of the birth, number 11, second moment, till the moment immediately before the dying. Immediately before the dying, so that constitutes the state of manifestation or manifestation state. Mundusiba. Mundusiba, manifestation, state of manifestation. That is, that you birth, you're born, and then you manifest as a being. And then you manifest as a being, as a boy, as a girl, as this nationality, that nationality, and so forth, till the point of your dying. So that is the state of manifestation. Dying is the conclusion. Then the state of dying. That is the last moment of the being, the last moment of your the life. That is the state of dying. It's not the state of death. Death is when your mind and the body is separated. But state of dying is when you are in the process of separation. It's not the separation, full separation, the full separation yet. It is in the process of separation. That's the state of dying, the last moment of your life. And then once your life stops, then we'll come to the intermediate state. Intermediate state, a state between your death of state between the last moment of your life and the first moment of the next life. In other words, your mind is projected from this birth before you connect to the next birth. That is the intermediate state. So there we talk about the 4 states. And then if you could remember, we talked about the projector and the projected limbs. Projector, how many projected limbs are there? 3. What are the ignorance, contaminant karmas, or the volition? Some people translate it as volition. Some people translate it as a composite. The composite, the composite aggregate. So there are various translations. Duje is the composition or the composite. It depends on the translator. Say there are several translations. And number 3 is the consciousness. Consciousness, if you remember, when we are talking about the projector projected, then the producer produced. So there, the consciousness number 3, I split that into 2. Causal consciousness and the resultant consciousness. So the causal consciousness, it comes under the projector, and then the resultant consciousness falls under projected. Okay, resultant is the projected. Okay. So the causal is this is important. The consciousness with the 12th links, we don't split the consciousness. Consciousness is the third link. Whereas when you classify this into the projector projected, then the producer produced, then the third link, consciousness, is split into two: the causal consciousness and the resultant consciousness. The causal consciousness is, say, when you say with ignorance you accumulate karma, and their karma, this karma will not remain as a manifest karma all the time. So this karma will, the very next moment, it will become the dormant state. It will go into the dormant state in the form of seed. Seed means it must be contained by, it must be carried by, there must be a container to hold the seed. That container on which the seed is implanted, that is a causal consciousness. And then the number 11, okay, when you take birth, so there, what happens is that, so with this, the next moment, this consciousness connects to next birth. This consciousness that you have, this connects to the next birth. So that's the first moment of that consciousness in the next birth. That is the resultant, the consciousness. Okay. And the resultant consciousness and the birth and the resultant consciousness, these two are these two overlap. Resultant consciousness and the birth. Number 11, birth. And number 3, the resultant consciousness. Number 3, these two overlap. And there are many things which are overlapping. For example, let's say the aging and death. Actually, it is not aging and death. It is aging or death. So aging or death, number 12, it already starts from the second moment of the birth. First moment of the birth, then second moment of the birth. From there, number 12 already started. So that it is not that all should be properly in sequence, but the labels are given pertaining to the main activity, the main function of the particular link. Okay, this is one part. Now, I'd like to go a little bit into detail of the 12 links. Some important part. Number 1, ignorance of the 12 links, the ignorance. Ignorance, this is of, now I'm going to into more detail. So they say for other classes like, I'm teaching on a wheel of life, just 1 day talk, 2 days talk, I will not really go into such details. So because of the knowledge development course, this is a very systematic studies and a more like a professional proper course. So we expect the participants to know the details of this. So ignorance is of two kinds. Ignorance in general is of two kinds. And then we'll say ignorance in this context, in the context of 12 links. First, ignorance in general, and then ignorance in this context of the 12 links, in the context of 12 links of dependent origination. Ignorance in general, of course, ignorance has so many ways of classification. Don't think that this is the only way of classification. Of the classification or the taxonomy of the ignorance, it's divided into two. Ignorance which misperceives or which misconceives the ultimate reality. Ignorance which misconceives the ultimate reality, and the ignorance which misconceives the law of karma. Okay, so ignorance. There are two kinds of ignorance which misconceives the ultimate reality, which means that we see things as objectively real. We see things as intrinsically real. We see things as truly real. That is the ignorance pertaining to the ultimate reality. Then number two is the ignorance which misconceives the law of karma. That is, ignorance which does not okay. Ignorance which doesn't believe in the law of karma, or which is totally ignorant of the law of karma. And what's the problem with these two kinds of ignorance? So before we touch that area, let's say that the ignorance, what is that ignorance pertaining to the 12 in the context of the 12 links of dependent origination, the first link here. So that is always the ignorance which misrepresents a reality. In other words, ignorance which is ignorant of the ultimate reality. That is ignorance. It is not the ignorance related to the law of karma. Now, say the ignorance which misconceives the law of karma, which misconceives the ultimate reality, this ignorance is the one which defines samsara. In other words, so what is there as the ultimate trigger for all samsaric experiences is this ignorance which misconceives the ultimate reality. And this ignorance, where this ignorance is there, samsara is there. So therefore, we see that all the contaminant karmas, they should necessarily be triggered by ignorance which misconceives the ultimate reality. Now, what about the second kind of ignorance? Ignorance which misconceives the law of karma. So there, with this ignorance, when the second kind of ignorance comes, it must be supported by the first ignorance. Of course, always. Always. And with the second ignorance, it must be supported by the first ignorance. Ignorance misconceiving the law of karma must be supported by the ignorance which misconceives the ultimate reality. And with this ignorance, then what happens is that it will be the ignorance. Second one will be the ignorance to project us into lower realms, three lower realms, which are the animal realm, hell realm, and hungry ghost realm. Three lower realms. Okay. In this connection, there is also what is known as the motivation. Motivation. There's a mention of motivation, and particularly in we see that the ignorance, that is the motivating force, the driving force. In English, it may not be too suitable. It is like the driving force, initial driving force. And this, in Tibetan, it is the word used is kunlong. Kunlong. In English, if we were to translate this word kunlong, the closest would be motivation. So let's say motivation. Motivation in Abhidhamma Kosh, there's a mention of two kinds of motivation. One is the causal motivation, kunlong, causal motivation, and then the next one is the concurrent, the motivation, kunlong. So there are two kinds of motivation. So motivation here refers to the ignorance, because that is the initial trigger. Just as motivation is the one which drives the action, be it positive or negative. Likewise, the ignorance is the initial trigger, the drive, to give rise to the positive and negative karmas. So with this, The ignorance. So what is the what is that causal motivation? Causal motivation is always ignorance, which misconceives the ultimate reality. And the immediate motivation is the immediate motivation can be both. The ignorance which misconceives the ultimate reality, or ignorance which misconceives the law of karma, can be both. Okay, so this is about the ignorance. Then number 2, the karma. The karma, it is of 3 kinds. Okay, what we see there, the white and black, and the white is the virtuous karma, and the black is the non-virtuous karma, the negative karma. And the white can further be classified into 2. In other words, let's say that the karma can be classified into 3. One is the negative karma, or the non-meritorious karma, negative karma, and the number 2 is the virtuous karma, and number 3 is the unwavering karma. Okay, let's say the non-meritorious karma, meritorious karma, instead of virtuous, let's say meritorious karma, non-meritorious karma, meritorious karma, and the unwavering karma. So of these 3, the non-meritorious karma is 1, that is symbolized by the black half of the second circle from the innermost. Then the white half consists of the 2. The 2, one is the meritorious karma and the unwavering karma. So what is the difference among these 3 karmas? Okay, so we see that these karmas how these 3 karmas are defined. It is on the basis of the results. What results are given rise to by these karmas. And the non-meritorious karma, they are the karmas whose result will be ripened in the 3 lower realms. Non-meritorious karmas, or in other words, whose results will be experienced in the form of the suffering. Non-meritorious karmas are the karmas whose results, which will result in the form of suffering as its experience. This is the non-meritorious karma. And within the 6 realms, it is the 3 lower realms. Then the meritorious karma. Meritorious karma give rise to the, okay, I think that we need to, to know this well, we need to also know this one. The samsara is classified into 3 groups: desire realm, form realm, and the formless realm. 3 groups. Within desire realm, we see that again, the 6 realms are there. 3 lower realms, all 3 lower realms are always desire realm. Then the human realm, always desire realm. Then the god and goddesses. God and goddesses, part of it is in desire realm, part of it is in form realm, and the formless realm. Form and formless are always the god realm. Whereas within the desire realm, there's one part, the 6th one, that is the realm of the god and goddess. So we see that now we see that when we speak about the god and goddess, or the god, the realm of God, we see that it exists in all 3 realms: desire realm, form realm. In all 3 realms, with 2nd and 3rd, form and formless is always God realm. And then the first one, desire realm, within that there's one part of the 6 within the desire realm is the god and goddess realm. Now the 3 karmas. Non-meritorious karmas will always give rise to the 3 lower realms, or the suffering, manifest suffering. Suffering is the result. And then the meritorious karma will give rise to the the birth, in terms of the birth, give rise to birth in the, say, the desired realm, the favorable results in the desired realm, that is, human realm and the god and goddess realm within desired realm. Then the unwavering karma will project one only in the form and formless realm. Unwavering karma will give rise to result only in the form and the formless realm, whereas the meritorious karma will give rise to the results within the desired realm, but in the favorable realms within the desired realm, that is, human realm, god and goddess realm within desired realm, and the asuras. So within these three, within desired realm. And then the non-meritorious karma will result in the, if in terms of the birth, will in the animal realm, hungry ghost realm, and the hell realm. Okay, this is the division of the three kinds of karma. Then some of you may be wondering why the third karma and second and third both are virtuous. Second, which is meritorious karma, and third, unwavering karma, both are virtuous. So within this, the white half of the second innermost circle, white half, it is consisted of two parts. Within the white, this white, we should think of two. One is the meritorious karma, and the second, the unwavering karma. And the unwavering karma results will be experienced only in the form and the formless realm. And you may be wondering why this particular virtuous karma related to the form and formless. These two are known as the unwavering. Why? Why it is known as unwavering? Well, it is because that this is quite interesting and very important. Let's say that if you are to take birth in the god and goddess realm, within the desired realm, and somehow if the factors are not conducive, then the same karma can waver, unwavering. Instead of unwavering, the meritorious karma can waver. It can change its course from ripening. Instead of ripening in the god and goddess realm, it can ripen in the human realm. So it wavers in its ripening the results. Whereas the unwavering karma to ripen in the form and formless realm, whatever karma that is accumulated, karma related to the first concentration realm will be experienced only in the first concentration realm. It will not be experienced in the other realms. So that those karmas are very, very definite, and they are not wavering. They don't waver in terms of ripening, in terms of the place of ripening the results. So therefore, these karmas which are to ripen in the form and formless realms, they are known as the unwavering karma. Okay, so this is about the karma class 1 to 3. Now, another important thing about the karma that I'd like to share with you is the projecting karma and the completing karma. Projecting karma. Okay, so the classifications can vary. There are so many different kinds of classifications, different classifications with the same labels. Now I'm talking about the projecting karma and the completing karma. And earlier we talked about the projected limbs, and the projector limbs. So there we should know the concept so well so that we don't get confused. So now I'm talking about the projecting karmas and the completing karmas. Don't mix up the projecting karma here and what we studied of the projecting limbs. So they're the projector limbs. Projector, link number 1, 2, 3. Even then 1 is also projector. So projector doesn't mean projector limbs may not necessarily be the karma. Whereas when you speak about the projecting karmas, it is purely karma. So therefore, with the same labels, we should not mix up the understandings. Okay, projecting karma and the completing karma. So this distinction is so important. In one lifetime, only one projecting karma can be activated. Only one projecting karma can be activated, meaning that projecting karma, only one projecting karma can be activated to become number 10. Can be active. Can be active meaning active to give rise to results. Whereas there can be millions of completing karmas which become active within the same lifetime to give rise to results. This is the difference. Then why some karmas are known as the projecting karmas and some are known as the completing karmas? Say that okay, let me give you one example. That let's say that okay, I want to move to Delhi. So somebody in, for example, say somebody from Karnataka state. Or now I want to join the Nalanda Master's course, the Nalanda Diploma course, and I want to be based in Delhi. So the person moves from Karnataka state to Delhi. And for that matter, the person is so keen that the person has his or her own house or flat. And then you go to the builder, and the builder says, yes, okay, if you're interested, then you have this flat for sale, and then this flat is a new flat. So you're thrown into this house. So this flat, you're thrown into this flat. So likewise, same of the millions of karmas that we have from the former life. Okay, you're going to be born. You're going to be born as a human being. So that karma through you to become a human being. So human being till you die. That is you have to live as a human being till you die as a human being. So that is like say you are thrown into this particular house. So as long as you are in Delhi, this is your house now. This is your house. That's your flat. Now the completing. So which means that is the expenses involved to buy the house is only one time. Now once you get this house, then the interiors that you can change every year. Interiors you can change every year. But you cannot change the house every year. So let's say that okay, your parents tell you that okay, I'll give you a flat, and that is for your life. As long as you are in Delhi, this is your house. So as long as in Delhi, this is your flat, this is your house. But the interiors you can change every month, every year. So for that matter, expenses involved with the interiors, this is not as heavy as the expense involved to buy the flat. But this expense can go hundreds and thousands times within this stay in Delhi. So likewise, say somebody thrown to take birth as human being. So till you die, you remain in that state. That is the projecting karma. Projecting karma projects you into the 6 realms. Once projected, then say you are very healthy, not healthy, right? Say you so the karma to project you as a human in the human realm, is that a virtuous karma or non-virtuous karma? Naturally, virtuous karma. Only virtuous karma will result to take birth in human birth in the human realm. But once you take birth in the human realm, does it guarantee that you will have a very healthy body? Not necessary. So you can have a very frail body, very fragile body. And then say while you're born as a human in human realm, does it guarantee that you have all the facilities? Not necessary. Does it guarantee that you have no fear? Not necessary. So for example, sometimes let's say that And then let's say there's some people, some children are born as handicapped, in a extremely wealthy family. So the being born as the human being is a very virtuous karma. There's a projecting karma. Then they are born as the physically physically disabled. That is negative karma. Then in a wealthy family is a positive karma. And then so much of helpers, positive karma. Within the helpers, some are very bad, negative karma, right? And always becoming sick, negative karma. Becoming but good medical assistance, positive karma. So we see that completing karmas is just a mixture of all kinds, innumerable the positive completing karmas, innumerable the negative completing karmas acting simultaneously, innumerable positive, negative completing karmas can be acting on the person within a single lifetime. But the projecting karma is only one. The effect of projecting karma is only one within one lifetime. So this is what we need to keep in mind. Okay. So that is about the karma. That's a very important part. Then okay. 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 The one thing that I was about to forget, then yeah, it came to my mind right now. That's very good. You may be wondering. So we talked about the classifying the 12 links of dependent origination into the four limbs. Four limbs: projected limbs, then the producer limbs, and the produced limbs. My question to you. Actually, there's somebody from the Nalanda Durgam course should have asked me this question. So why some of the courses are referred to as the projected limbs, and why other courses are referred to as the producers, or why some of the results are known as the projected, and why other results are known as the produced. Okay, this is a question. Now, first let me give a very standard answer. Say the produced, the text says, particularly, for example, say the very standard text, they say that the produced and the projected limbs and the produced limbs, these two are synonymous, but for namesake, we label them as differently. But in actuality, for example, cause and effect, namesake, these two are different. But in actuality, what is the cause should be effect, what's the effect should be cause. Likewise, cause and condition. Cause and conditions, these two are again synonymous. What is condition should be cause, what should be cause should be condition. But say on a superficial level, we can speak about some as condition, some as causes. Likewise, the produced, and the projected. These are the synonymous. Likewise, we can say, okay, so this is one thing. Now, what about the projector and the producer? Producer is not just a producer, immediate producer. The full form is immediate producer. So from this we sense, for example, let's say that the elders will know that. Elders meaning those who are in the 50s, 60s, 70s will know that when you are very young, say you fall off or you do a jump you jump or you're a runner. And when you're young, you don't feel the effect on the knees. And then, for example, so you fall off, you fall, and then there's some injury happened to your skeleton, to your bones. Then it's healed within 10 days. Say there's some fracture happened, and within the minimum like 20, okay, maximum like 20 days, then it's healed. So the fracture is healed. You're fine. Then, let's say you are in your then 60s or 70s. Suddenly, you just twist your body. You twist your body, and your legs are also a little twisted, and suddenly you can feel a sharp pain there, and then you go to hospital. Then the hospital said that, oh, there is some inflammation in the bones there. So what's the cause? Oh, what did you do? Then what do you say? I just twisted my body, and then suddenly I have this sharp pain. And then the person will ask you, okay, did you have any fall when you were young? Yes. So then this pain was immediate pain. What's the immediate cause of this pain? The twist in your body. And what is the long term, the cause? The fall. The fall that you had like 30 years ago. So that is that is like the projecting. Projecting meaning, so you throw the arrow, you release the arrow from distance. And it's not that the arrow will hit the target the very next moment. It will not hit. It'll take time. So projector has the connotation that the cause and the effect, in between there's a time gap. When there's a time gap between the cause and effect, this is known as where the time gets involved, that cause is known as the projector, and the result is known as the projected. And whereas say the twist in the body, instantly you have the pain. So the cause and effect, there's no time gap. Where there's no time gap, that cause is known as the immediate producer. Producer distance in time, the producer which acts with distance and time before the result, that is known as projector limbs, and the result is known as the projected limbs, and the causes which will give rise to the results immediately. These are known as the producer or the immediate producer limbs. Okay, now from this we will see. We will try to apply this to the 12 links. So what are the projector limbs? 1, 2, and 3. 1, the ignorance, and number 2, the contaminant, the karmas, the volition. Then number 3, the consciousness. So these 3 things, the projector, because these 3 and the effects, they can be a gap of like many lifetimes. They can be a gap of many lifetimes. Say, the ignorance, contaminant karmas, the affliction, the consciousness, that karma is accumulated because of the ignorance, and the karma is implanted as a seed in the consciousness in the last life. And then the effect may take place after, say, 1,000 lifetimes. So in between, the effect is not seen. So there's a time gap. And the effect can be after only 1,000 lifetimes. Then the number 8, number 9, number 10. Say, the karma was accumulated like 1,000 lifetimes ago in time. So there's for 1,000 lifetimes, the result is not given rise to. Now this life, that particular the karma that accumulated 1,000 lifetimes ago, that karma is going to be ripened in this life. So for that, what happens? Number 8 and number 9, they come into being. Number 8, number 9, and that karma, which took like 1,000 lifetimes to come to this life, now it gets germinated to become number 10. Number 10. So, number 8, number 9, number 10. Number 8, number 9, number 10, these three are the producer. These two are the immediate producer. These two are also causes. And earlier, number 1, number 2, number 3, which happened 1,000 lifetimes ago, these three were also the causes. And today, this life, number 8, number 9, number 3, number 10, these two are also the causes. Of the two sets of causes, the causes, ignorance, karma, and the consciousness, which happened 1,000 lifetimes ago, only that set is known as the projector, because that cause and the effect to be experienced next life. These two are separated by like 1,001 lifetimes. Whereas this life, number 8, number 9, number 10, these three and the effects next life, there's no time gap. There's no time gap in terms of the lifespan. There's no interruption by any other life. It's just immediate. Immediate next life, you're going to have the results, 6 results of these three causes. The number 8, the craving, number 9, grasping, number 10, becoming. So these three are known as the immediate producers, and the number 1, 2, 3 are known as the projectors. So this is the difference. Okay, so these are the things that we need to know. So we'll stop here for today. Then next we will do the divisions, the classifications of the remaining limbs, and then from there we will go to the how the Wheel of Life painting is also a teaching on the Four Noble Truths, and how this also teaching on the 3 jewels, refuge. Okay, so this is a very comprehensive the teaching of the Buddha Shakyamuni on the basis of this painting of the Wheel of Life. Okay, we'll stop here for today. And for the Nalanda Diploma course participants, should you have questions on the Wheel of Life, if possible, try to do that on the education portal. Where you're not happy with the answers that you get from the education portal, then I'll be happy. You can freely bring them up. And just for information, I'd like to also bring it to notice that Nalanda Master's course, there are some of the students who really excelled in their exams and the assignments, who really excelled in those. We requested some of them, and if they would be kind enough to respond to your questions. So some of them volunteered, so kindly accepted to do that. So make sure that you just throw these questions up there in the education portal, and some of these participants whose names our education the Nalanda Studies Program Coordinator, they will send that to you through the mails to you, and you will be aware of who these people are, and particularly answers coming from these people. I would rather they suggest that the Nalanda Diploma course participants, they should pay more importance, pay heed to the answers coming from these people rather than others who are not suggested. Okay, but others feel free to give your answers. It doesn't mean that you are not allowed to give the answers. In the process of giving answers, you're also learning something. But the point is that as somebody who's new, your answers, some people may take it too seriously, and the answers may not be too accurate, and then in which case the people may be misled or may get wrong information. Therefore, to solve this problem, we give some suggestions of some of the participants from Nalanda Master's course who really did so well in the examinations adding the assignments. So you try to get a list of those people and pay more importance, pay more serious attention to the answers coming from these people. Okay, thank you. And as I said earlier, feel free to bring up your questions. If you're not too happy with answers that you get from the education portal, then bring them up to me. I'll be very happy. Okay, with that in mind, let's turn to the end education prayer. Okay. Page 288, the new version. And I'm sure you know where these additional direction prayers are. We'll say this together. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful Charity Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize these things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these rules of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by all the Buddhas who appeared in the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that is not erased and arising grow, and may that which is arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. Chanju Samjo Rinpoche Maya Panam Kya Gyoroche Kya Ba Nyamba Me Baya Kone Kondo Pe Baraisho. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I truly remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 3 times, and to the upholding of the Dharma of teaching and realization. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separated from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect with the 2 stages. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha, by making until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. By the power of practicing and supplicating to you, may all be free from sickness, poverty, and conflicts. May all Dharma, may Dharma and the auspiciousness proliferate in all the places where we abide. The path of union and emptiness and compassion is loosely explained by the protective Bodha Dharma in the beings of the land of snows. You are the lotus holder, Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces, humans or non-humans, who harbor malice through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas, be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the 3 jewels. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stations and the paths, may I truly attain the state of Vajratara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of dependent origination in particular, even in the cosmos life. Okay, thank you.